Cyclone MMA. UFC 271, it's happening. It's here this Saturday. Israel Adesanya is taking on my guy, my second favorite fighter, Robert Whittaker. Izzy won the first fight. Whittaker's got this in the bag for the second fight, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to give you my picks for the main card. Top to bottom, from early prelims to the main event. Solid fights on this card. I might be watching from 6 o'clock to 1:30 a.m. or whenever this ends. There are a lot of fights I want to see on this. You got some bangers in the early prelims. Alexander Hernandez versus Moicano. That's pretty cool. Prelims, there's some cool fights too. Roxanne Modafferi, her goodbye, her retirement fight. That's exciting. Good stuff. And then the main card, top to bottom, just super, super solid. A lot of middleweight action. But yeah, good stuff. We're going to get into it now. I'm going to start at the bottom of the main card, and we're going to talk about these fights. I'm going to give you my predictions. Should you bet based on my predictions? No, because you'll lose a lot of money. So, yeah. The first fight we have is Bobby Green versus Nasrat Hakparast. I suck at saying his name. I'm sorry. Bobby Green's one of those guys who wins some fights, loses some fights. It's like a flip of a coin when he fights. Like, he fights really good against like beasts like Fiziev. And then he ended up losing that, but still, like, the fact that he was in that fight to that extent is pretty crazy. I don't think people thought he was going to be able to do that. Then he had a knockout victory against Ali Quinta, which I think surprised a lot of people too. Nasrat, he is a promising striker. He's looking good. He lost his last fight against Dan Hooker, but I mean, it's Dan Hooker. And Hooker did rely a lot on wrestling in that fight. Not that he couldn't get it done on the feet, but just because that is a weak point. But they're going to stand and bang. I have Bobby Green winning that fight. Probably a decision. Ooh, that strobe is just super distracting. We're not going to go with that. We're going to go with a nice blue. Isn't that pretty? Cool. Yeah, I got Bobby Green there. I think he's going to win a decision. He could get a stoppage, but I think this is going to be a fun fight. This is one to look out for. Potential fight of the night candidate. Next, we have Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo. Marcelo Rojo is not on my radar whatsoever. I think he's had one UFC fight. It might have even been a loss. Kyler Phillips, on the other hand, I thought he won his last fight against Paiva. A really fun dude to watch. He's been at it for a little bit now, which it's weird to see him only have 11 fights so far because it seems like he's established. But apparently I'm just crazy. So let's see. I want to see who he's fought in the UFC. I know he beat Song Yadong. Yep, there it is. He's looking good in the UFC so far. He's got the one loss, and I think a lot of people thought that he won that. It was, it looks like someone scored it a draw. The other two scored it for Paiva. I really thought he won that fight, though, pretty decisively. I'm going to take Kyler Phillips here. I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. He looked really good in his last fight, and I'm interested to see how he does against Rojo, who I don't know much about, so I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. Can't really say. I know that Rojo's not super high on the rankings, and he doesn't have all that much, high-level fights in there. He's at 16-8 right now, so I think Kyler Phillips is the safe bet there. Next, we have an interesting one, the middleweight division. We have blonde Derrick Brunson, who's undefeated with his blonde hair, versus Jared Cannonier, who's fought at light heavyweight. No, I think he fought at heavyweight and then light heavyweight and then middleweight, which is just insane. This one's interesting because it's like the striker versus grappler, well, I should say wrestler matchup. Brunson's going to want to take him down. Cannonier hits like a truck. Brunson's got some pop too. It's interesting. I want to believe in Brunson, but I also, my heart's telling me Cannonier's winning this. I think Cannonier has really, really good takedown defense. I know he fought Kelvin Gastelum. Gastelum went for some takedowns. I don't think he landed any. He also had I know he had a fight against Jack Hermanson, and I think Hermanson was able to take him down once, but I think he had little to no control time. So the takedown defense is there for Cannonier, which sucks for Brunson. But when you know someone's going to try to take you down, and you have your opponent thinking, oh, they're going to take me down, you can always go upstairs. I know Brunson's got some power. With that being said, I think I'm going to pick Cannonier to win this fight. I think he's on the way to a title shot here. I'd like to see Brunson do it. I think it's cool that he's kind of revamped his career and is turning it around. He had a win against Edmund Shabazian. He fought Kevin Holland and beat him, and then most recently, I think it was Darren Till. Yeah. So I'm going to pick Cannonier. Best of luck to Blonde Brunson, but that's who we're going with. Next, we have My Balls Was Hot, Derrick Lewis versus Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa. Such a fun fight, but also, like, what are you doing, UFC? Like, I don't mean to be the hater. I don't mean to rain on people's parade because I know everyone loves Tai Tuivasa, but he's, like, ranked 11. Derrick Lewis is ranked number 3. Derrick Lewis just destroyed, who is it? I wanted to say Chris Dawkins. I think it's Kyle Dawkins. Was it Chris? Man, I got to look now because I'm going to sound like an idiot. I'm going to have you guys in the comment section picking on me and bullying me and calling me names like Weenie Head or something. It's a bad time to have a voice crack. It was Chris Dawkins. Okay, I'm a liar. There is a Kyle Dawkins, though. I know there's a Kyle Dawkins. I forget what division he fights in. But, yeah, I'm going to take Derrick Lewis. I feel like that's the no-brainer. I think he's got the bigger cannon. I think he's got the higher level competition fights. I think he's got the higher level wins. And we've seen Derrick Lewis be great. He beat Francis Ngannou in one of the best fights I've ever seen in my entire life. That fight sucked. It was really bad. Tai Tuivasa knocked out someone in his last fight, and then he knocked out Greg Hardy before that. So that's cool. But I think we're going to see Tai Tuivasa with a loss here. I heard he was shit-faced when he accepted this fight, which you have to be to accept a fight against Derrick Lewis, who's 8 steps ahead of you on the ladder. It is weird that the UFC is making this. I think they're hoping that Tai can catch Lewis and then put him in a good spot for potentially a title fight in the near future. I think they're just kind of rolling the dice with Tai Tuivasa and the star that he's quickly become with the shoey and knocking dudes out and such. But yeah, so Derrick Lewis is going to win. I think it'd be cool if Tai won. That'd be crazy. I'm rooting for Lewis, but if either guy wins, I'm happy either way. Now it's time for the main event. Israel Adesanya, or as someone in the comments called him, Jizzy Adesanya after he humped Paulo Costa, versus Bobby Knuckles, Robert the Reaper Whittaker. Yeah, Robert Whittaker is my favorite middleweight. I've made that perfectly clear. With that being said, I am picking Israel Adesanya to win this fight. I think this will be a much better fight. I think Whittaker, he did look like he was overextending, and he didn't look himself when they fought the first time. And also, like, in that first round, I think people are... If you take out the last second knockdown by Izzy, it's a tough round to judge. And if that's sloppy Whittaker doing that, I think it's going to make for a more competitive fight this time around. Also, we've seen Whittaker use his wrestling in that Gaslam fight. He strung 3 wins together, and I wish him the best of luck. Izzy, on the other hand, has just looked really, really good. You had that fight against Paulo Costa where he just beat the brakes off of him. Then you had... We won't talk about the Jan Blachowicz. He went up in weight, and he was outweighed by a lot there. But then you have the Marvin Vettori fight where he just did whatever he wanted to Vettori. Won every round decisively, I think. Yeah, we got to go with Izzy on that one, which sucks because I want Whittaker to win. I don't dislike Izzy. He's cool. I usually root for Izzy, but not against my boy Whittaker. But yeah, that's who I have. There's some more cool fights on this card. I'm excited to check out the prelims. There's a lot there that could be just complete bangers. But yeah, that's who I have. I think this fight's going to be interesting. It's going to really. It's almost like a tournament. I think if Izzy wins, he fights the winner of Cannonier versus Brunson. I don't think Sean Strickland did enough to get the W. Well, what am I saying? He got the W. I don't think he did enough to get a championship fight based on his last performance. I think this just makes sense. But yeah, UFC 271 looks good on paper. These are all really, really fun fights, so it should make for a great night. It's going to be tough to hand out those bonuses because I think there's going to be a lot of good action. But yeah, those are the people who I have winning the fights. Who do you guys have winning the fights? Let me know in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. Buy some shirts, support the channel. Other stuff. Yep. Peace. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson.
Amanda. Duh.
Next, we got Artem Lobov. We're going to stick him right up at S tier. Just kidding.